You're listening to Empowered to Lead, the Therapist Practice. I'm Lisa Catello, therapist, business coach, and your go-to for all things leadership and sustainable practice growth. This is your space for real talk, smart strategies, and grounded support to help you lead with confidence, work with intention, and build a business that actually works for you. Let's dive in. Hello, and welcome back to the Empowered to Lead podcast. I'm so glad that you're here. I have a special guest on today, and typically my guests are other professionals or other group practice owners. Jen is a different kind of professional, not like a website designer or people that will help build a group practice, but really on the therapist side of things. She is a master therapist. She would probably not like that I called her that. I'm excited to have Jen join us. We are entering into a new kind of adventure together, and I wanted to share some of that with you all today. But I want you to get to know Jen a little bit. And so I met you, I think, like 12 years ago. It's been 12 years. Wow. Maybe. It's a while. I don't remember how long that's been. It's been a while. We've had a bunch of different kinds of relationships, and the latest blossoming out of friendship and collegiality is to start to develop something called Congruent Practice. But Jen is a satir therapist. She works with couples, she works with individuals, and she speaks around the world. And I have been honored to learn from you, both as a person and as a therapist. And so I'm excited to have you on here and share some of who you are with the people who listen to Empowered to Lead. So tell us a little bit about you and you.
Me. Who am I? That's the deep question. Who am I? That's the question you just asked me, and I don't know how to answer that. So I did. Well, first, I want to thank you for inviting me on the show, too, because I know we've been talking about this. But who am I? I know so many people start with their roles, which isn't who I am. But if I start with my roles, I am a therapist. I'm a clinical supervisor, international speaker, an author, wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, all of these roles. And underneath that, at my core, I am someone who loves deeply and lives, I'm going to say fiercely. I don't know why that word came to me, but really embracing the adventure of life. And I don't mean, I mean the adventure. I do like the thrill of adventure, but also navigating through uncertainty, which doesn't always feel good, but really building resilience. So, and then the adventure that comes from that. And I do value authentic connection with others, my family members, my friends, authenticity with my clients and with the people in my life. So I guess that's a little bit about who I am.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Question that I ask everybody on here is, who are you as a leader? How would you describe yourself as a leader?
I would describe myself. Well, first, the word humble comes to mind. I don't know why I say the word humble, but maybe the word heart-led. I lead from my heart. I do use my head too. I think both are important. Actually, heart, mind, body, heart, soul, spirit, but really showing up with authenticity and congruence. I teach about congruence a lot. I really feel like living and embodying congruence when I'm showing up as a leader. It's harder to do with, family because all our stuff comes up in the, but I know, when I'm leading a program or with my clients or showing up with congruence. And what I mean by that is really connecting with the essence of who I am and drawing on my resources and sharing that, connecting with others. I guess I think of leadership as kind of an inside out process. The more that I'm honest with myself, because I'm not always honest with myself, but when I can be really, truly attuned and honest with myself and moving through my own discomfort and staying connected with my values, and even when it's kind of messy, it helps me to be more grounded. So being more grounded, and the more grounded I am, then the more trustworthy I am for others.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. It's for me,
like trustworthy.
Yeah. And for me, leading is not about performance. It really is about authenticity. And how do I show up for myself, and how do I show up for the people that I'm with, and showing up with authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a show focused on group practice owners, so therapists who have people who are working for them. What would you say you think group practice owners need? Maybe they have missed something, or in the role that they're in, this is something that you hear, or that your heart is, if I could have you as a group practice owner have this is what my desire would be. It's a really long way of wording a question.
Yeah, I'll see if I understood your question, because I do see a number of group practice owners who see me for supervision. When I supervise group practice owners, therapists, whoever I'm supervising, I really focus on the person of the practice owner and the person of the therapist. So when someone is coming with, whether it's an issue, whether it's a relational issue with something that's happening on the team, or something that's happening with one of their clinicians and their clients, or whatever the situation is, whatever the event is, bringing it back to, and how is that impacting them? So I think your question was around, what do group practice owners, what do they
see as a need?
As a need. A need is for them to have those spaces where they can do that introspection, and not just introspection for more awareness, but really to process what's coming up for them personally, because they're humans too. We're all human beings on this journey of life. And so when stressful situations come up, we have our own ways that we deal with stress. So that they would have a space to process that, where they could safely and feel safe to be able to be authentic, vulnerable with what's going on for them.
Yeah. I have a membership for group practice owners. This morning we had a call, and we were talking about how your mindset kind of shifts as a group practice owner. You start out as a therapist, and you're caring for everybody around you. A reason we get into this is to help people. And then you shift over to being a group practice owner. And a lot of us had to learn new skills. How do we do business? How do we track metrics? How do we know if our business is doing well? And sometimes people think that we are being harsh because we're looking at facts and numbers instead of heart and caring for the person on the team, when really that feels so harsh to hear, because I started this because I care for people and I like to please them. And so sometimes we really wrestle with that. I'm a people pleaser and I want to take care of you and I want to make you happy, and my business needs this and that. You look like you're going to say something.
Oh, I was, because what you're saying as you're describing this, I was just envisioning actually like a skeleton. Like, it needs a structure. It needs the bones to carry the heart. Like, you can have the heart, but if you're just a heart, you're not a heart is a beautiful thing, but it needs to be held. And so, like you said, the structure and the systems and the numbers are a crucial part of carrying the heart.
Yes.
That's what I was seeing as you were talking. I was picturing a skeleton.
Yeah. And so if you keep with that metaphor, if you're limping, if you're not taking care of some of the things that get thrown at you, whether it's hurting your heart or like there's a system out of whack or somebody isn't, keeping with what helps make this business run, what keeps that body healthy. That's hard. It's hard to say, hey, stop. We need to take care of this. And sometimes taking care of this is, I need to take care of me.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do.
Yeah, for sure.
How, when you think about how people can do that as a therapist, what are some ways that can help to bolster, to take care of them as a person, not just them as a business owner?
Ooh. So what can help them take care of themselves as a person?
Mm-hmm.
And the person, I'm kind of looking at sequence, Virginia Satir talks about peace within, peace between, peace among. So like starting with taking care of self as a person. And it really is about looking at not just, and the word self-care is kind of it's out there, like self-care. What does that really mean? And looking at it in terms of how to feed the different energies of the self. And what I mean by that is like how to nurture like body, the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, the spiritual body. So looking at all of the different ways and looking at all of those areas. And it really starts with, first of all, how do we make the decision that like we actually are important to make time for?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah. And finding out like where do people, like, where do you get joy from? What feeds your soul?
And lots of people know I'm not great at taking care of me. And the more that I do this work and the more that I'm working alongside group practice owners, we often come last. And if we are coming last, it means a business suffers, or it means relationships suffer. And so I was always growing up, that word was selfish. If you're taking care of you, you're selfish. But really coming to reconcile with it, that means we're on an equal playing level. So if I'm taking care of you, I also need to take care of me so that I can continue to show up and be authentic and be a good leader.
And it really is reciprocal or circular even. Like it's not a linear thing. It's like as I'm taking care of me and I'm giving to you and you're hopefully, taking care of you and and giving. That is, and we can look at our relationship with self and with other and with the context. So there's also, I know I also talk a lot about like, even when we say, I don't have time. Well, we all have 24 hours in a day. Last I checked. So we do have time. It's what how we choose to spend our time, and how can we take even micro moments in our day between sessions, between meetings, to even, look out the window or go outside, walk around the block, or do something to feed yourself, even micro moments throughout the day. Because we're so good at just pushing things aside. And I'm guilty too. I mean, my goodness, I've been going to bed far too late. And I know how important sleep is. And we know, so it's one thing to know what we need. It's another thing we need to actually to make the time, because we're worth it and we're deserving of it. And we can show up better for the people that we work with when we take care of ourselves too.
So that kind of leads into one of the reasons why we're doing today's podcast, is to let people know about our new venture or exploration together, because that has grown out of conversations of how do you take care of yourself as a therapist, as a group practice owner, because it feels like, if you're anything like me, it feels like every time I turn around, I'm giving to everybody around me. And if I'm not filling myself up, if I'm not doing some of those things that take care of me, I burn out and I resent and I don't want to be there anymore. I'm going to burn it all down. And one of the things that I have appreciated about you in the trainings that you've done and the way that you talk about the work that you do, even in creating your website for your private practice to be I'm a therapist for therapists. How do we take care of the therapist? Mm-hmm. And so our conversations have grown out of that. I keep saying flown out of that. Because sometimes maybe it feels like it's flying out of it.
I love that. Grown and flown.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. Let's shift a little bit to what congruent practice. So that's the title that we are in the name that we have given what we're trying to accomplish. I want to talk a little bit about retreats because I'm passionate about that and that's part of it. But why don't you tell me a little bit of like that vision and how this has come to fruition from your perspective for congruent practice?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's start with congruence as the foundation for all of this, because so much of my work with clients, with therapists, with the participants from the retreats and workshops that I've done, the common foundation is all about coming back to congruence. And I guess like my way of looking at congruence, when I look at satires, even like the deeper level of congruence, it's not about, some people think congruence means I feel a certain way and I tell you how I feel. And that's just being honest. That's just being, okay, this is how I'm feeling and I'm being authentic with how I'm feeling. And when I'm talking about congruence, it's really coming into harmony with where I'm connecting with, like really connecting with who we are at our essence and allowing that to flow up through ourselves and show up in our behaviors. And where everything is in line, mind, body, spirit, soul is in alignment. So congruence, so being congruent within ourselves. And that is a lot of the work with my clients about when they're going through stuff, how to come back into congruence. Same with therapists, how to stay congruent when they're with their clients, how to stay congruent with themselves in relationship. And then also the congruence of the business, how is, your values, how does that show up in business and what's actually happening with the business and how to bring that back into alignment. So congruent practice kind of comes out of that, like wanting to have a space and a container to really work on cultivating congruence in all of these areas of our lives.
Yeah. And congruent practice for me too is in all as many areas as we're able to support people. Like when I think of what we're wanting to provide, we've talked about not just big things like the retreat in Costa Rica, but smaller things. So we created a Facebook group. If you want to search it up, it's called Congruent Practice, but not just to have a Facebook group or promote different things, but really community and connection as a person who happens to be a therapist, who happens to be a GPO, because, even in your introduction, who am I outside of the roles? And I know Facebook, you're not going to pour out your soul, but to find a place where that's like-minded people to make connections in there and to find out what we're doing, because we want to provide some of those offerings to help you with that. And then also, so one of the big things that we are planning, we had planned to do a Canadian retreat and that did not happen. So
it wasn't meant to be this time.
Yep. There will be another one.
Well,
but Jen was down in Costa Rica almost this time last year and sending me photos and videos, and just the experience that you had there was pretty powerful. And so we're looking forward to our first retreat and coming home to Congruent.
Yeah.
I know why I'm passionate about retreats, so I'm going to share that a little bit again. But why retreats? Why is that something that you said, hey, Lisa, yeah, let's do this?
I am so passionate about retreats too, Lisa. Retreats And maybe there's another word that we need, because retreat sounds like you're escaping from something, but really it's about slowing down and pausing and really having the time for you, which some people might say, oh, that's selfish. No, but it's also having the time to be in community and to be in connection. And there's something magical that happens on retreats that goes even beyond what you and I are creating, Lisa, because being held in the environment of being in the cloud forest of Costa Rica is something else entirely. So being held in this beautiful, nurturing environment where you're literally, there's hummingbirds all around, and it's magical. So having the opportunity to nourish your soul and your body and then to really dive into whatever, like retreats in general, whatever the focus of the retreat is, to really do a deep dive into that. And it's more than a webinar. It's so much more than a webinar, to bring that experiential component and to give yourself the time to really let it simmer and integrate. Because it's not enough to have this great experience. It's another, like, you could have this great experience. And I'm a really big proponent of integrating it so that you bring that back with you to your workplace, to your home for transformational change. So I think what we're co-creating is a transformational retreat, not just a retreat. So I'm all about transformational retreats.
Yes. And I am pretty sure I've talked about retreats on here before, but for me, retreats are important to remove yourself from your environment, to get away. I think whenever you retreat, even if you go for a night, stay in a hotel or somebody else's house or something like that, a different environment. And I'm also a huge proponent for retreats, but different kinds to meet the different needs. So I go away every summer for a weekend just by myself. And that used to be, let's just get shit done for the whole weekend that I can't get done anywhere else because it's focus time. And that has really morphed sometimes out of necessity because I forgot my laptop charger or I got sick or something like that. But really now incorporating, what do I need to feed me? Not only good food, but feed me and give me the chance to reflect. And so then that's one of the reasons why I have been doing Canadian retreats for group practice owners. Again, we're staying in the country. So like for some people that feels safer, but expanding that out from just me being on my own to me being in community. And so a lot of the retreats that I have run have been business focused and solution focused in the midst of community and connection. And so as you and I have been talking, recognizing more of that need of, yes, it helps to have systems and to grow your business. And as I hear group practice owners feeling like things are a lot, or I'm not actually taking care of me, I'm taking care of everybody else, to create an environment where you are intentional. You set aside the time, finances, you set aside like actually getting out of the country for us to go to Costa Rica. That takes a lot of saying, I matter and my needs are important here. And then doing that in community, to be in warm weather, to be pampered by the Verdesana staff, to be led when you're used to leading, and then to sit there and look at those hummingbirds and just be quiet in a noisy world.
Drinking really amazing Costa Rican coffee, just saying.
That was probably consistently the photo that you sent me was they delivered another amazing coffee this morning. Yeah. And so every retreat that I have run so far, people have walked away amazed at how that has affected change during the retreat and after. And I was talking with Alison Meritas that I do the Canadian ones with, and as we were talking, I realized like there's a lot of me that feels introverted, especially as a therapist, like protecting my time and my energy. And so you would think going away on retreat and being around people all the time would be exhausting, but it's life-giving and it's fulfilling. And you can go away and be alone if you need
choices.
To well. Yeah. You were in Costa Rica. You were on site.
I was on site.
You already listed the coffee, but yeah, what is a draw for as we think of setting the tone and the physical setting for this retreat?
Yeah. Well, as soon as, even just thinking about the first thing I picture when I think about my trip there is the nature. Like nature is such a huge co-facilitator of this retreat because it's all around us. And you're really, there's mountains all around. It's like you're being hugged by, and it's not in a claustrophobic kind of way. The mountains are spread out. But it is about, and it's magical. Like I mentioned the hummingbirds already and the different birds, the different wildlife and the flowers. So that alone, that really contributes to the setting. The staff there, they are all local and everything is locally sourced. The food is grown right there on the land. I'm salivating as I talk about it because the food is amazing. That's what a lot of people, even if you read the reviews and everyone talks about the food and how there's just as much love and care that's put into the food, the presentation of the food. The staff they are servant leaders too. They love what they do. So for me, the environment itself, including the staff, also hold us as part of the container. And that's something that you don't find. I haven't found that. I think of other retreats that I've done too, where so much of the organizing, a lot of the retreat leaders do a lot of the cooking or hiring the chef and making sure that this person is in place. They take care of it all. And so, so having that, and then I mentioned the hot drinks in the morning, you wake up to your cabin, you hear the flowing of the river that runs through the property. And if you're not a coffee drinker, they also grow fresh ginger on a property. They do a fresh ginger, lemon, honey, tea, whatever it is. Open your door and there's this mug of hot something, cacao, whatever, cacao, coffee, tea, whatever you want. And then it's just, there's places, even the places where we hold our workshops are beautiful. The place where we'll do yoga and meditation in the morning is down by the river. The workshop room has floor to ceiling windows open to the greenery outside. We're just surrounded by nature, and that's nurturing. That really is. And we know that it nurtures on so many levels.
And as we're planning what we're going to be sharing in that environment, it's also to nourish and feed the people who are there. And so it's not just, let's tick a box off so you can write this off as an expense. No. It's very much, we're going to this is about caring for you and who you are in the depths.
Yeah. And aligning with whatever your business is, whether you're a solo practitioner or a group practice owner, so it's about you first, coming home to congruence within yourself. And we'll be doing things around aligning yourself with the self of the business and bringing that into harmony. So yes, you'll be walking away with more than just a beautiful, lovely experience. You'll have an experience and more.
Yes. And so it happens January 31st to February 5th, 2027. That feels like a very long time away because it feels like we just started 2026, but that is going to go fast. And we've already got about a third full and engaging more people as we go. So if you're at all interested, we invite you to check out congruentpractice.com. When I was on Jen's retreat, she spelled out the rest of it, but it's a very long URL. So if you go to congruentpractice.com and click on the retreats, Costa Rica retreat. You can find out more information about that. Yeah, I am excited for it. I am nervous for some of it just because it's different. And I think that is something that a lot of us experience in going and trying something new, in being around people maybe that we didn't know before we showed up at a retreat. And so do I really want to do that as an introvert? Yes, you do. Yes. It's stretching, but it's fulfilling and refreshing and reconnecting internally as you connect with nature and others and be led by us. You don't have to lead for a week.
And there's enough spaciousness that we're building into the retreat for time if you want time alone for journaling or hiking. And there's time for you.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, just that you and I are available if you are wanting to talk with us personally, for more information or just to connect with us, that we are available. And there is a link on the landing page where you can connect for a call or reach out.
Yeah. So if you have been listening to this podcast and your interest is piqued, there will be a link in the show notes, or you can just go and search out congruentpractice.com. If you want to learn more about us, I also will include a link to Jen's website so you can see a bit more of who she is as a person and a therapist and some of those roles that she talked about at the beginning. And we would love to have you join us. Again, those dates will be January 31st to February 5th, 2027. And registration is open right now. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me, Jen. Like you said, we've been talking about doing this for a bit. So it's been a pleasure to chat. And to the listener, I hope that you will tune in next week and also keep an eye on social media. So Group Practice Network, social media, and then Congruent Practice, because we get to go down to Verdasana in May, and we will be sharing more information about the location and the environment there. And I'm excited for that
too. Thank you, Lisa.
All right. Yes, thanks. Thanks for tuning in. If you have enjoyed this, I would love it if you give it a 5-star rating, which helps other people find it as well, and share it with your friends. Have a great day. Thanks for hanging out with me on Empowered to Lead, the therapist practice. I hope you're walking away with something that you can put into action, because leadership isn't about doing more, it's about leading with purpose. If you're ready for deeper support, I'd love to see you inside the Group Practice Connection, my monthly membership where Canadian therapists like you get coaching, community, and the tools to build a business that actually supports your life. You can check it out at grouppracticenetwork.ca. The link's in the show notes. And hey, don't forget to hit follow so you don't miss what's coming next. We're building something great here, and I'm so glad you're a part of it.